A larger-than-life bearded character, dressed in a red suit, flies around the world in just one night before sliding down chimneys to deliver presents for all the good boys and girls on Christmas Eve. But in lying to children about the existence of Santa Claus, are parents causing more long-term harm than good? In an article published in the journal Lancet Psychiatry, 2 psychologists are raising concerns about the Christmas tradition. They suggest that lying to children could undermine their trust in parents, as a result, leaving them open to abject disappointment. Kathy McKay, a co-author of the article, warns of the potential for children to be harmed in these lies, advising parents to take the long view approach. The Santa myth is such an involved lie, such a long-lasting one between parents and children, that if a relationship is vulnerable, this may be the final straw. If parents can lie so convincingly and over such a long time, what else can they lie about?
Good evening, everyone. Happy, what is this?
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
hump day.
So I am here with my fabulous hosts, co-host that's looking at the floor. Hi, I am Peach, and you are?
The guy who's looking at the floor.
And we have a special guest. What is your name, special guest?
What's up, y'all? I am Latoya, also known as Auntie Toya to some. What's going on?
Hey,
What's
so
up?
tonight's topic is parents lie too. Are we ready to talk shit about our parents tonight? And can we really absolutely keep it real about all the lies that they told us growing up? Can we keep it real tonight?
Why can't we?
You know what's crazy? We talking about our parents, but we do the same daggone thing.
Well, look,
So
before
because
we
we
get
are the
into this,
parents too. We are the parents.
yeah, but before we get into this topic, right, we got to shoot on over to Maybach's news with the trending topics. Maybach, we're gonna let this video run, and yeah, and then you can shoot your little shit with people. Let's go.
Just a few years, you won't even be able to earn a living unless you hand over your freedom first. They're rolling out something called a digital ID. Free of charge, they say. But here's the catch. It won't just be free, it will be mandatory. By 2029, if you don't have one, you won't be allowed to work. Not in shops, not in offices, not anywhere. Think about what that means. No ID, no income, no way to survive. It's control disguised as convenience. They frame it as progress, but isn't this the same system that can track, monitor, and shut you off at the click of a button? Once your work depends on it, what's next? Your bank account, your healthcare, your freedom to travel? Digital ID might start as an app on your phone, but it ends with total control over your life. And history shows us, whenever governments take a new power, they don't just give it back. Is this really about keeping people safe and organized? Or is it about making sure you can't live unless you obey?
I thought we still had like 5 years, and I don't think we do.
He's hyping up digital IDs like it's the future. It's safer, it's faster, it's convenient. Yeah, well, so is a straitjacket. Keeps you nice and secure while you can't move a muscle. Let's keep this real simple. Right now, the government gives us IDs, driver's license, passport, social security card, etc. It's been like that forever, but here's the deal. Right now, they're separate. You lose your license, you can still pay your bills. You can still go buy groceries. Your passport gets taken, you can still get gas. Each card controls one door, not the whole damn house. Now picture one digital ID that holds every single key you've got, your bank account, your health records, your travel, your phone, your ability to move, operate. At first you'll think, man, this is convenient. One key for everything. No more passwords, no more fraud. Everybody knows who it is. It's me. But what happens when someday somebody else holds that key? They don't just control one door now, do they? They control your entire life. Okay, one click, boom, lights out. No money, no travel, no gas, no access. That's not an ID, folks. That is a leash, and you're the dog. Bottom line is this: freedom is the real currency. Guard it with your life, because if you hand it over for a shiny new ID, don't cry later when you find out that leash around your neck isn't coming off.
Wow.
Do you care to elaborate on this trending topic, Mel? What should we be getting from this?
Um, Prepare. It's the mark of the beast. Um, a lot of people think it's conspiracy. They don't think it's happening. It's already happening in the UK. The prime minister already said that you know, um that the illegals is going to have to get the digital ID. But this is the way they get people. They'll say it one way, but really it's for the masses. Okay, so we have to pay attention to the wordplay and what they saying, how they using the words, and you just got to listen to the trigger words. And someone texted me too before the show and was like, "Yo, I want to get your opinion on the EBT thing." To me, I feel like Walmart alone, right? This coexists with both. So it's a point I'm trying to make. Walmart alone just makes $3 billion on snaps alone. That's not cash. That's not other people's money. Just EBT alone, they make $3 billion, right? So when they talking about nobody's gonna get their snaps for November 1st, it's gonna affect a lot of people, right? We all know that. To me, it's a plan for something much greater and bigger, right? So now, when you depend on the government's going to come in and tell you, oh, okay, well, you depend on me. Well, we need you to sign this over and sign that over. And they're going to implement the digital ID. And from the digital ID, they will shift to the CBDC, which is the central banking digital currency. Again, for entertainment purposes, because we all on YouTube and we have to be careful. So I don't know anything, YouTube. A little birdie told me this. So I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not. I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I don't know if it's just theories. I'm just saying for entertainment purposes, this is my opinion. This is my POV. This is what I believe. This is what I think. But I'll leave it at that. A lot of people in the chat, they know what's going on. People are seeing what's going on. At the end of the day, it makes no sense that we on a government shutdown and they gonna take away people's snaps. The taxes are still being taken off of people's checks. So it's a lot of things that just don't make no sense. And I would advise people to really pay attention to what's going on. Don't be sidetracked. Don't get distracted. And on that, I land my plane.
It's just like a form of control, basically. That's all it
Great.
basically is. They want to
Correct.
have control over what everyone do, and they don't want to have a mind for themselves and be able to think and make decisions on their own. They want people to need them. And like you said, you like, oh, you need me, so you have to do this. So I can
Correct.
have control. That's like applying for damn credit cards and shit. Like it's crazy. There's
Hmm.
always something. But I'm laughing at you, back. He said, let me clear my name. And what
All right. So thank you for the information,
Thank
my
you.
awesome co-host.
Already
That
know.
was our trending topic, Mr. Perfect. Hi, Keita T.
Don't
Hey,
What's
start.
up,
Talib.
Keith?
So let's get back to our topic. Tonight's topic is parents lie too. And
Mm.
I know it's a lot of people that love their parents, right? So this
Mhm.
might be hard. We're going to keep it real here tonight, right? So if you can't handle it, I'm telling you right now to get out the chat because this is not for you. We like to be, what is it, Mel? Objective, never subjective, right?
That's a
All
fact.
right. So, why do you think parents lie? First off, did your parents ever lie to you? Did your parents ever lie to you?
Who you ask? You asking me or you
I'm
asking?
asking Maybach and then I'm
Okay.
asking Toya.
All right. I'm gonna say this. When I was young and dumb and full of a lot of stuff, I was very naive, and I thought that my parents were perfect. Forgetting about that they Caribbean folks and whatever. Until my sister and my brother exposed certain things and was like, they lied to you, and that just ruined. That just let me know, like, oh, word. They told y'all the truth, but they lied to me. So of course, West Indian parents, oh yeah, they damn sure lie. They perfect. They never did nothing. You know, they walked a straight line. They did everything by the books. But go ahead, Toya. I'm gonna let Toya get in.
Um, I think I'm very fortunate enough to have a parent that really tells me things the way how it is. Not too much of lying. The only lies that I could think about in what y'all brought up in the intro is like Santa Claus, like holiday stuff. But I think they lie to us just to make us happy. They want to satisfy us. So I
Mhm,
think that's the reason for that. But I cannot think of no major lie that my mom told me that I know about today that it was a lie. Like
mhm.
never clarified it. Like, girl, I lied to you. That what? Mm-mm, I'm gonna have to ask her. What
Mm.
about you, P? Your mom
Hell
lied to
yeah.
you?
My
What
parents
she's
are freaking fracking liars, man. They lied about a lot of different things. And you know what? When I get through with my list of lies, you guys gonna admit, you two in the
you're
chat, that
gonna
your parents lied
right,
to you too.
right.
Okay. Number one, when your parent tell that ugly ass child on the street they look cute, that's a lie. When your parent says that outfit looks good and you know they don't like it, that is a lie.
I did that before.
When your parents say you did your best and I'm proud of you, but they really wanted you to have that A or that job or whatever it is they was expecting you to have because you're from out of their loins, that was a lie. um Santa Claus a lie. The Easter Bunny a
Right, a
lie.
lie. The Easter Bunny. Right. Yep.
um the Tooth Fairy a
A
freaking
lie. You right.
lie.
You right,
Okay.
P. You right.
Not to mention, just to harp on the topic last week, when your parents tell you that you're about to have intercourse and they tell you if you do, you're gonna bleed to death. That
Yeah.
was a lie. Oh no, you're gonna bleed to death, this and that, you're gonna get all these diseases. That is a lie, right?
Damn.
Mm.
Damn.
And most and here's the one, right? This is the ultimate one for me. They just lie in general because they don't know no better themselves. And so then you grow up listening to everything that they taught you, and it was what? It was a
It's a
lie.
lie.
Yeah,
So
correct.
then you gotta go and peel back the layers of your childhood,
Hmm.
which takes you maybe, I don't know, 5, 6 years per lie. And then by the time you get to 30, 40 years old, you finally come into yourself, right? Because you had to unpack all of the lies, right?
Correct.
Damn.
Yep.
So,
Let me tell you a crazy lie, right? My mom's was super dramatic with her lies, right? She could have been one of Hollywood's best directors, right? So she's telling us, like, we growing up in the hood. She's like, oh, Dudley Station, don't go there. Bullets fly everywhere. We're like, what? What do you mean bullets is flying everywhere? The way she tells the story, you would think like it's Desert Storm. No lies,
That's
like
raining bullets.
Afghanistan. And again, until like Pete said, we get older, we start to get on the bus, ride into transit with our friends and going to different, bus train stations and all of that. And you're sitting there at the same train station that my mom's was telling us bullets just be flying everywhere. And you're like, yo, what
Where
was
the
she
bullets?
talking about? Ain't nothing happening here. Yeah, listen, man, Haitians are super dramatic. I mean, super, super dramatic. I get it. It's kind of like to protect you, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it's just like, why did you do that? You know
It
what I
scares
mean?
you too.
Yeah, of course. Listen, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
fear mongering, they worse than mainstream news. I swear to God. Like I said again, my mom's is super dramatic. So she's like, "Oh no, don't!" And in the thick Haitian accent, "Don't go over there, don't go." Yo, it's like, come on, man. Like, same
Like
thing.
shit, I
Taking
don't think I want to go over there. Damn, it's like,
listen,
but like you said, I think it's really to protect you. But they
correct.
don't realize they're scaring you damn
Hmm.
near half to death. But they like, oh, since they scared, they know fear will stop you, and that's
Correct.
crazy.
Correct. Correct. It is super crazy.
Oh my God. So why do y'all think they do it? Like, do they just lie to us for no reason? Like, I can't.
Think
Okay.
for protection.
Okay.
Yeah,
So why the Jesus lie?
Oh, why you go there? See,
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
Don't do that.
We're not gonna go there, but
Don't do that.
oh, okay. Why do y'all think these parents tell these lies?
I mean, it's different reasons. I mean, again, like Toya said, it was to protect, to put fear into you. Um, I those are the only things I could really come up with. See, I didn't get. Listen, we didn't have a chimney, so we was already told when it came to Christmas, like, yeah, you see those shirts, I bought
I
those.
bought
you
it.
see you see those toys, your daddy bought that. This is from your godmother, this is from. So that Santa Claus thing was only at school. Easter bunny, listen, Haitians don't even know nothing about no Easter bunny. All right, so that's
They
all.
said we not letting the white man take credit for what we paid for.
You know what I'm saying? So they, like, a lot of these
Pretty much.
holidays, they don't celebrate in the Caribbeans. Maybe they do now, because of social media and things like that. But back in the days, they was I just know, New Year's, um that's what they celebrated in Haiti. They do know about Christmas and stuff like that. But other than that, it's like a lot of these extra holidays like Valentine's and Easter and stuff like that. They're not
That's
celebrating those.
United States. That's a U.S.
Correct.
thing. But
Correct.
even like with, for instance, with like the holidays that you was just talking about,
Hmm.
um, it's just, I think it's to make the kids happy and it makes the parents happy as well.
Hmm.
Like, but I don't know why you gotta wait for one day to give me all these damn toys though. That's what I'm saying. Like, you wanna tell
Correct.
me about some Santa Claus,
Correct.
but
Correct.
you United States people, they believe hard in that Santa Claus stuff. And I was just telling my daughter, I'm like, yo, she been new because I've been told her about being no Santa. I
Hmm.
think it should be up to a certain age. You need to stop that. But then
Correct.
you going crazy with it with the gifts and stuff like that, and the kids think that they are supposed to have that. So you are putting them in the mind frame of I'm supposed to do all these things for you,
Hmm.
or you supposed to do all these things for me.
Yeah.
Like even though you lied already, so now you still got to do it though. Now I know the truth, but
Correct.
I think
Correct.
it messes the kids up in the long run with the
Mm.
lies.
Correct.
Well, Talib said they can only perceive the world from their subjective reality. It's based on their
Mhm.
upbringing and personal experiences.
Right.
Hmm. That's a
Mm-hmm.
fact.
I don't know. When it comes to us,
Hmm.
as parents, right?
Hmm.
Have you done anything different with your children as far as you were raised? I know for me, um, it was a lot of lies told. And as I got older, I tried to instill into my children other belief systems. I didn't want them growing up with a closed mind.
Hmm.
And, particularly coming from a black, well, not even black, I'm using the crayon, as you would say, Maybach,
Hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
us being indigenous, Caribbean, whatever we are.
Right.
We live with so many, it's like our whole culture. Um, Most of it is a lie. Most of what we believe is a lie.
Hmm.
And I think we owe it to ourselves to just sit down and unpack and raise better children, right?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember growing up, and Maybach probably will find this a little offensive, maybe not. I was always told, I don't know about you, Toya, to stay away from other black
Nationalities.
people, other black nationalities,
Hmm.
Mm.
because they weren't American for several reasons. They
Oh, okay.
want a passport. They want I'm sorry, they want a green card. They
Mm-hmm.
want the benefits of American lifestyle. They want to learn about it. All of these different things, which creates a cultural divide to me.
Hmm.
Right.
So, we just have so many. How do y'all, or how did you grow up and realize um, that your parents lied, and what did you do to just like try to make changes to it, because it is just was so much.
Um, well, me, I keep it, my children are young, so I'm totally honest with them. You know what I mean? Certain things that they might ask me, I try to like at least give them an answer the best possible way. They are young still, 9 and 7. So, you know, um again, I just try to be honest with them. The different thing that I do with them that my parents didn't do, which I shared with you, is like, we me and my siblings, we knew we was loved, but we didn't grow up hearing it. And I thought it was like more of a Haitian community thing, nationality thing. But Jamaicans, I know a lot of Jamaicans, they say the same thing, or just Caribbean folks, or just people in general. So it doesn't really come down to a nationality. I realize the more conversations that I have about that, a lot of people will say the same thing. They knew there was love, but they didn't grow up hearing it. And like I said, Caribbean folks, the old school ways, they didn't show a lot of emotions and affection. So bless you. I make sure that I show my children the affection, and I tell them that I love them. Like me and my siblings, we didn't grow up hearing that. You know what I mean? Like showing emotions was kind of like a thing that is like foreign. You know what I mean? When I was growing up, so I those are some of the things that I do different with my children. Is show them affection, show them emotions. You know, because I don't want them to grow up and have issues, when it comes to showing emotion and things like that. Um, but as far as the lion, like I told them some things, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wait till they do get older so I could share some of the things that I've done in the past, but that's when they get older, I will do that. But as far as that goes, but yeah, I'm honest with my children, you know. I already told them Christopher Columbus, he didn't discover anything. I told them there is no Santa Claus, that is made up. Easter is not what it has nothing to do with no eggs and no bunnies, so there's things that I'm already putting out there, letting them know about, you know, and stuff. But yeah,
Oh, here come Toya. I'm about to say Toya done disappeared.
Sorry, y'all.
well, she's
Call
back.
some through it just cuts me off. But is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yep, it's your turn.
Okay. So I like I said, about my mom, she never really lied to me, but as far as hiding things, probably hiding things, but if it was ever brought up, she really never had a problem with keeping it, being honest or keeping it real, as some would say. And I do the same thing with my children. I don't lie to them about things.
Hmm.
Maybe little white lies, like she's about like money. I only got this amount of money, and I don't, because my child always asking for something. But but I keep it honest with her. Anything she needs to know, and I just try to make it as, how can I say, like you said, made back, as understanding for her age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But still give her the real. So,
Hmm.
and that's how I raise my children. I don't like
I
to
got a
lie.
question. I got a question for you though, because there's something
So,
that you said that I forgot to mention, and it happened to us, me and my siblings. There's things that our parents didn't mention, or like you said,
mhm,
they would hide, right?
right.
So to me, that's still, it's not lying, but it's a form of like dishonesty. I'll say, you know what I'm saying, like not mentioning
Right.
certain, you for an example, I remember like we had an ill snowstorm. So long
Mhm.
story short, I put my wet clothes in the laundry, and I had some like bud in my jeans.
Uh,
So my dad took it. I forgot about the bud being in the jeans. So a whole year later, my dad was giving me a ride, and then he's like, "What is this?" And I looked at him. I said, "What do you mean? What is this? You don't know what that is?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know what it is, but I want you to tell me what is this." And I said, "Well, it's weed." He's like, "What are you doing with it?" you smoking it? I was lying, of course. I said, nah, I'm not smoking it. I'm selling it because it was bagged up. And he's like, why you selling that? I said, well, you guys don't want to buy me sneakers and certain things that I want. Bless you. Certain things that I want. So this is a way for me to make money. And I remember my dad, like one time I asked him, I was like, yeah, you ever smoke? He tried to like act like he didn't hear me. And then when I pressed him on it, like, yeah, you smoked weed before, right? I know they was growing some weed in Haiti when you was coming up. And the way
Right.
he said it, he tried to say it like he was on some Bill Clinton. Like he hit it, but he didn't inhale it. So this is what I'm talking about. It's like, dude, you know you did. Why you why you lying?
Right,
Like,
right.
just admit it. You know what I mean? My mom said she tried cigarettes. It wasn't her thing. And then she said she drunk a little bit of liquor. And as far as I know, from like me growing up, I never really saw my mom's even sip on wine. Like I'm talking about like red wine or any type of wine. So I know that wasn't her thing. But my dad, the way he tried to say it, it was on some like, you know. So I wanted to ask you, like, if you say that your parents was like, you know, hiding things, you don't feel like that's kind of like similar? I mean, they're not physically lying, but you
But
know.
I feel it can be a form of lying, but as for the age that I was it appropriate for me to know that? No, it wasn't
Mm,
appropriate for me to
got you.
know those things. So I understand the hiding part, because
Hmm.
it'd be certain things I probably wouldn't do in front of my children, but I'm not
Yeah,
gonna, I wouldn't bring it around them
yeah,
as far as
yeah.
drinking and stuff or whatever the case may be. But like, I don't, it's definitely a form of being, is it deceitful? Is or deceiving?
Hmm.
Yeah, it can be. Mm-hmm.
Correct, correct.
They were lying. Let's just say it. They were lying.
Right,
They were,
hiding it.
they were, they were
Hiding
lying.
is lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your man is cheating on you and he's not saying anything, but he's beating around the bush about what he's doing, right? Wouldn't you say he's a liar? He's lying. He's being deceptive. He's
Yeah.
telling he's doing all these. He's a lie. So therefore, our parents were
He's a liar.
lying,
Hmm.
They
and
were
they
lying.
and they're not perfect. We have to
No.
accept that,
Correct.
Right.
you
Correct.
know.
Yeah.
And
It,
especially with our generation, and Mel, I think you know where I'm going with this one, right? We have a lot of Delulu people that's
mhm.
around our age,
Yeah.
um, that still live in a world where their parents are perfect and they know everything, and no, information never changes. That when they came out, everything was out with them. They just God in a sense, and they can't see through it. And to be honest, when you don't admit that your parents misled you or lied to you, how in the hell do you grow?
Correct. You're
Right.
lost in the sauce.
You
That's a
Mm-hmm.
are,
fact.
yeah, you're trapped. You're trapped in a time capsule.
Correct.
Like, could you imagine if we held on to some of the beliefs that our great great grandparents had coming out of slavery, how we would be?
Yeah, that's a fact. Be
It would
lost.
be like you were like, yo, who's that strange person?
For real. Like, what's wrong with
So,
her? Like, you heard what she just said? Yeah. The stuck in the
yeah,
time capsule. Stuck in the time capsule. Talking
we
about some
can't.
1925. For real.
Right, I can't be with her. My mama said, and your mama don't know what the hell she talking about.
Correct. Correct. Oh,
Come on,
they
you done heard it.
yeah, the big those
For
there was a
real.
lot of
My mama
lies,
said,
man.
your mama don't know shit. Shut up.
A lot of lies, man. For real. A lot of lies.
Oh, so y'all know that I like to research things, right?
Mhm.
And it's like multiple reasons as to why parents lie. I'm sure y'all know many of them you can relate to. I know in the black
Mhm.
community, our parents lie to us because, especially around the holidays when they can't afford something, they'll come up with this whole dramatic lie. Like I remember my mom saying that she bought me something. And I know she was lying. Oh, I bought you something you really wanted, but somebody stole it out the house before I could get it under the tree.
They stole
A
it out the
lie.
house. Yo, that's a good one. They
Yeah.
stole it. I got you that new bike you needed, but they robbed me for it. They took
Yeah,
it.
they
Yeah,
stole it.
they stole it. That's a good one.
Or my job short me on my check. Like,
Mm,
come on, these weird lies.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know. So I'm gonna put up what I found, but these were the ones that I had that I thought it was so damn funny. Well, not funny, but a little strange.
Mhm.
Okay.
So why do they lie? Now we know this one. Number one, to maintain authority or control. Y'all ever had a situation where your parent just lied to you because
Mhm.
they wanted you to stay intact? They like, yo,
Or stay
if you
home.
don't do
Shit.
if you don't do what I say, this is gonna happen to you.
What you
You
get?
know what I'm saying?
What you
You
get
don't
If
do
you
what
asked
I
lie,
say.
quicker?
all
You
your
ain't
teeth
going
gonna
outside
fall
with your
out.
friends. You ain't doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Right. If you lie, all your teeth gonna fall out.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um, what's another
Oh,
lie
y'all
for
remember? Y'all
authority?
remember that one when they said, "Oh, you swallow seeds, a tree gonna grow." Stop lying to me. Now I'm scared.
Yeah, those crazy ass old sayings.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, Toya, you're a woman, and the ladies in the chat, right? I know y'all heard this one. If you go outside with when it's cold with a mini skirt, your cootie gonna catch a cold. Like these things to control you to stop you from wearing or doing certain things. You know, your parents did all of that. Hey, Tyler, thank you for joining us.
Hmm.
Um, another one.
Sorry, I was keeping the mic muted. I was setting myself up. Thank you for having me. It's good to see
Hey,
you. It's good to see
Hi.
Maybach Mel. It's good to
Salute,
see
salute,
everybody. And I
salute.
was going to mute it and set myself up, but you guys, the conversation was just great and wonderful, and I was just loving what was happening.
All right. Well, set
All
up,
right.
man. Set up.
Set up. So another one I thought was funny, right? To
Hmm.
preserve a child's sense of magic or hope. I mean, did Santa Claus really give y'all hope, or did you just want toys? I
Yeah,
never felt hopeless.
yeah, exactly.
it
I
was
just
all
wanted
for the
to.
toys, honestly. So,
Exactly.
because I was
Exactly.
talking about this, I was just talking about this. People don't even celebrate Christmas the way they supposed to celebrate it. It's all
That's
about the
right.
toys.
Correct. I was
Yeah,
about to say the same thing. Like, it's still going on to this day. If you ask these kids what is Christmas really about, they have no clue, no idea. They're gonna say the
Uh-huh.
same thing. Toys. It's about giving toys and getting toys, and more
right,
receiving than giving. Of course, you know.
Yes.
right,
You know.
right. And what
Let's
about the
protest
freaking
Christmas,
tooth
y'all.
fairy? The tooth
Oh man.
fairy. You
Listen,
just
man.
did
What?
it for money.
Listen.
Yep, I want the money. Like, and I don't want you giving me quarters. Like, why are you giving me quarters? I want dollars and fives and tens for these teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they get more expensive nowadays. Back then, a dollar went a long way. Now you can't even give these kids a dollar. What are they gonna get? They ain't no
What's a
dollar
dollar? What are
pennies.
they getting?
You know what I mean? There's no penny candies no more. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I was
It's
just
like so
You
can't
get
do none
two
of that.
Reese cups, the
Yeah.
small ones for a dollar
for
Listen.
at
what?
this point.
For a
Let me tell you
dollar?
this again, right? My children and even I'll even say my generation, we wouldn't know none of half of this stuff if we didn't go to school because our parents wasn't bringing these things up, talking about no tooth fairy, no Santa Claus. This, you know what I mean? So again,
Where did
my
that come
parents.
from? Thinking about that now, like, where did that come from? Like, I doubt my mother was trying to, and my parents were trying to get me somebody because time was hard. Like, who brought that
I
up?
got $5 per tooth. A
What?
whole lie. You just could have gave me
Who?
the money. You're a
Yeah,
good kid. Take the money.
yeah.
Why you gotta lie and say my teeth is worth this money? Like, why?
But I
Lying
Well,
really
is
don't understand the
a
hope.
lot of it came from fables because back in the day, what they would do to try to uh, stop children, like America has adapted a lot of different nations' culture.
Hmm.
A lot of warning fables that we hear, especially coming from Disney and things of that nature, came from German mythology. And a lot of those were fable tales designed to teach children, right, not to do certain things because of danger, right? And so a lot of the stuff And then Christianity also got involved with the fables, you see, and we received a different Bible than they received, right? So our Bible was full of a lot of lies, stories of the whole Bible is full of lies, but ours was
Mm.
especially full of lies, right? One, to pacify us and to condition us to a certain set of behaviors, you know? So a lot of that stuff, when they told us things, they were trying to scare us because they was taught to be scared, right? And that's how you got people to behave. A lot of that came
Mhm.
from Pavlov, right? And how you train animals to obey you, right? And so that's where a lot of that stuff came from. That's why, and our people just they predicated it, right? Because when integration came along and they put us in schools, we still received a different education, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we predicated that teaching onto our children, and then you see what I'm saying? And we're at a point now where our generation, right, who grew up with where education was a little bit more of the focus because we were the last generation of the permission-based society. A permission-based society says go to school, get a good education, get a degree, and then go ask for a good job. You get a good job, you do what you're told, right? You make good money, you get a house, you get a family, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a permission-based society. But their whole plan was computers the whole time. We know this, right? They just the way the reason we were different before is because our families, 100 years ago, that's not even long ago for us, right? That don't
Mhm.
even that's probably all just our grandparents or great grandparents at best.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you go back, it was the agricultural age. And what did they need in the agricultural age? They needed people,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then came the industrial age with Ford and them, and they started taking handicapped people and people who had lost their limbs and started seeing how much work they could do. And that's how he came up with the robotic and mechanical arms in those factories. And that's started the birth of the nuclear family, right?
Wow.
And that's when our family began to decrease because the grandmother and grandfather wasn't in our home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Correct.
You you see what I'm saying? So that's how that culture began to fall apart. Barbecues, the family get-togethers, these things started to drift. Family members started moving to different states because of the economics. You know what I mean? And then we get to this point, which is what? An information-based society. That's where we are today, which is computer and technological. And what don't they need? People.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
And if you don't need people, how do you stop it? Then the only way to stop it is to what? Not promote family,
Mm-hmm. Correct.
individualism,
Correct.
self-branding, and the reason it don't stick with us now, and the reason it even sound crazy for some people to still behave this way is because it's not the societal norm anymore.
Yeah.
They have a new way, this new generation, they didn't grow up on anything we grew up on. Everything we grew up on to them is a relic. It wasn't it wasn't the main form of programming,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
If you were 10 years old today, that means you was born in 2015. That means you don't even know what life was like without a cell phone. By the time you came along, cell phones and YouTube and social was well integrated into the population.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a psyop,
Yeah.
ran through propaganda. So these are children that never seen what truth looked like.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
So,
They
do you
get
think
what
it
you,
was right? So, go
I'm sorry.
back to the parents. Do you think it was right that our parents lied to us about these things? How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think that I think that what they did was impose their subjective reality and their training on us without knowing any better. Some of them as they got older became aware and apologized and tried to make some changes, while others can't teach an old dog new tricks. They just was rigid in their ways. But
Right.
they won't, but I don't really consider it like I some parents like my mother never told me about Santa Claus being bringing gifts, right? I grew up in a very kind of militarized family. Most of them have been in the army and got over. You see what I'm saying? They didn't like the government,
Mm.
right? So I never, I had to learn to stop talking when I went to school because I wanted to be, I would say things like, that's not true,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would get in trouble for that. And I had to be taught, stop talking. So I have friends that experienced that. I had other relatives and aunts that was like diehard Christians.
Mm.
But by the time they got really old, they all passed away. It was like in their later years, for some reason, that became more clear to them that maybe some of this isn't true, you know? But I
Okay.
think parents lie, well, are lying because of their subjective reality. We can only, subjective just means the mind. And can
Right.
you experience the world from any place but your mind?
Mm.
And what if you believe everything in your head is true? Then what you
Mm.
start expressing to others may seem like a lie, but to you,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
it's not a lie. I think a lie can't be a lie without intent.
Mm.
I think it's called misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Correct.
Misinformation for real. I agree with that.
Now, our parents lying to us about certain things happening. Like I can relate to Maybach stories with like, yo, this is not a war zone.
Right, right, right,
But
right.
she just didn't want me over there. You see what
Correct.
I'm
Right.
saying? Because
Correct.
she saw
Correct.
something happen in her subjective react. Remember, subjective means the mind. And the way the human mind works is like this. It goes, I don't, you're not attractive and I don't like you. Then you go, man, I'm ugly and no one likes me.
Right.
Now
Mm.
your mind filters out everyone who tells you you're beautiful, everyone who is attracted to you. And the only thing you begin to see is what? The things that reinforce what you believe. So for them, that's like the old white lady that holds the purse when she see the black guy coming toward her, right? In
Mm-hmm.
her mind's perspective, she sees him in a threatening way. He may not even be giving off any, but her mind gonna filter out all of the stuff that would say he's not doing that and just give her everything that shows and supports a viewpoint. And I think that's what happened with our parents. They experienced certain things. I had a grandmother, she's American Indian. I'm American Indian, or not even Indian. I'm indigenous. But,
Yes.
she was terrified of white people.
Wow.
She died in 2000. She was in like her 80s. Uh, she was scared. Like if we would talk back to some white person just randomly, like yo, because we was in New York, you talk to everybody, like everybody talk to everybody. But
They
let me
do.
tell you, she would get scared. She'd be like, "You don't mess with them white people." And her mother, my great grandmother, who I got to meet and know, she was terrified. She'd tell you stories about running through the night, hiding in wooden houses, and how the
Right.
white people was hanging and all kind of stuff. Like the things they did to them.
Because she
Really,
experienced that trauma. So she that trauma basically passed on from her to her children because she told them these stories, and it just passed on, I guess.
But you know
they
what?
taught they was taught that tough love was the way to show how you really love. So they show you like no love, and then they act like then they'll defend how much they love you when you address it.
Yeah, that's true. Piers, you know what's crazy? What I just thought about when I'm sorry, I don't know his name that just was
Talib,
speaking.
Talib.
Talib, I'm sorry. So he mentioned the story with Maybach, and that just made me think like, I guess our parents lie to us too because especially with certain things, how his mom said, "Oh, it's bullets flying everywhere." Because if you just tell your child, "Don't go down there," and you might get hurt or so you might fall or something, kids ain't listening to that. You gotta traumatize kids these days for them to listen. For some reason, it's like, look, he said, bullets is flying in my mind. It's raining out the sky.
Nah,
Like,
but
what?
you you know what it really is though, Toya? It's like again, um, I'm gonna speak more on the Haitians or whatever, because that's what I am, so I know more about that. It's um it's kind of like what Talib say, right? So They watching the news, they see someone committed a murder. The person who committed the murder has braids or dreads. Now, it's generalized to
Right.
everyone who has
Right.
brains,
Yes.
Braids.
braids
Yes.
or dreads. So now
Right.
it's like, oh, be careful. He's a bad guy. You get
Every
what I'm
person I
saying? And
see, I'm
and again,
scared. I'm like,
it's not their fault as well too, because it's kind of like that predictive programming.
right.
They put in, all these shootings that's happening in a certain area, so it's gonna make anybody and everybody think, oh,
It,
if
it's
I'm
like
in
the
this.
California fires, right? I'm out toward this way. I've been out there, and I
Mhm.
would tell you like this: like when the news shoots some, they'll shoot some and frame it in a certain way,
Correct.
right? And put all the bells and whistles on it, and then you
Correct.
start thinking California is on fire,
Correct.
Right.
like the
Correct.
whole place is burning.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
But it's
But you
not,
learn.
because they know it's just the natural way our brain works. It's
Correct.
generalized.
Correct.
No, let's not say natural. Some of us be looking at it from another way, but
Yeah.
Talib did say something about our parents just being unaware
Mhm.
and just, making judgment calls from their knowledge base. But when does it become ignorant?
Right.
When do you become when do you realize that you're ignorant and you have to make a change? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
You got to
can't be
grow up.
walking around in the world believing all of these things
Correct.
and just be stuck on, well, this is the programming that I've had.
Hmm.
When do you become ignorant? When
You
But
does
have.
it become a time to change?
I think a
You
person has
can
to have an open mind. Because if you still have that closed mind and thinking the same way
correct.
as what your parents told you, you're gonna forever think that way. But as you get
Correct.
older and start thinking for yourself, like, damn, like she said the sky was blue. I mean green, but it's apparently blue, and I'm looking at it. Like you have to have your own mind to realize that shit ain't how they say it is. Like, I don't know. I'm just in Pierce, you as well. We are open minded people. Like, we don't just look at shit from one perspective. We look at the whole thing. But
Well, a
that
lot a
comes
lot of
with
people ain't
growth.
like that though. A lot of people
They're
ain't like
not.
that. Yeah, they so like what Pete basically said, it's the truth. It starts with the mindset and the mentality. Because I can't be the age that I'm at, right? Late 40s, and still believing and thinking what my parents taught me is the way, and that's what it is, and there's no other way. It's like
right.
when you learn math, you're going to learn how to, the teacher's going to teach you their way, but along the way you got to say, well, damn, she was doing math the hard way, or it took a long time. I found the shorter way to come up with the answers. So you got to, like, again, you got to start training yourself. That's why I always tell people, unlearn everything that you've been learned, that you was taught, and
Hmm.
relearn a lot of things. Like, again, there's a lot of things that we were told from school.
Hmm.
We was programmed to believe a lot of things. And then when you start learning, you're like, again, it goes back to what Toya says, having an open mind. Because that's the only way you're gonna learn and evolve. If you don't have an open mind, you just have a one-track mind, then you're not gonna evolve. And it's
But
unfortunate. But
you
yeah,
you
T.
T,
know you know what
tap in,
I'm
T.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
T
y'all.
ain't said
Yeah,
nothing. Let
yes,
T
I need.
say
Yeah,
something.
he just said, come on now. I was about to say,
Oh no,
what's your thoughts
I
on
was
this?
just listening. I'm really good. I can hold a thought, and I was allowing
T
everybody. I'm
wriggled.
enjoying this conversation here.
Yeah.
That's why I was just, and I like to mute the mic so I don't, I have
Yeah.
dogs,
No,
and
it's all
and the
good.
door
It's
is
all good.
open, so I don't want them just messing up the show or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, no,
You
no.
know,
I think everyone you're bringing up good points today. I mean, this I love listening to really good, intelligent people break things down. I think that overall, because I got my glasses on today, so I'm going nerd,
Where's the
right?
hat?
Going little nerd, going to little nerdy today. Okay, right? I graduated from England, Oxford, and Cambridge all in one year, right? And I think that our parents lied to us just to I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, even though they shouldn't have,
Mhm.
um, to keep our innocence in a way, to keep us using our imaginations, and keep us believing, and being able to paint an image in our minds about things. I think that's the only reason why our parents would lie to us. And then what we're doing, which is phenomenal, you know, breaking all of these lies. There's no way that I don't have children yet, but there's no way I'm going to teach my child about Easter or Santa Claus or or Jesus in that fact. Do you understand? Like there will be no beliefs taught. It's all about knowing at this point. And I think this is why we are, the Gen Xers are here, to break these chains. So shouts out to all the good parents out there.
Right. Go ahead,
Right?
Toya. You wanted to say something?
What was I gonna say? So this might be a little bit off topic, but it kind of goes to what we were talking about as far as like how we perceive our parents and what they say. But as I got older, I just realized that no one really knows what's going on with life or how life is. Everybody have their own experiences, but no one really knows how to manage this damn thing called life that we're living. So I'm just like, it's just crazy. So I feel we just, us as we get older, we just gotta go about it our own way and figure it out for ourselves. Cause our parents, they just know what they experienced. They don't know everything.
Well, they've been
I
brainwashed
know
by social
that.
stratification. See,
Mm-hmm.
Like I
classism
know.
is also comes. You have to understand that classism comes with the set, right? Middle class there's an education, there's belief
Mm-hmm.
systems, there's a monetary aspect, economic, there's family. You see what I'm saying? With the poor, there's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? And when you have been we've been taught our mind in reverse because it makes you a good worker, right? You you have to realize that the purpose of school, and you can look this up, the intention of school was to remove the imagination from children.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
they studied psychology very well. This is why all these motivational speakers, you listen to any of these celebrities and movie stars, what do they always tell you? You gotta believe, you gotta really focus in your mind. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
see it. Notice
Right.
they all tell you it, but you don't listen for one reason. You was told the only way to be successful is to work hard. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people don't do anything good. A lot of them are miserable. These are the types of things that we are taught,
Mm-hmm.
right, about our reality. So in our mind, we look out because remember, this is human natural psychology. We generalize. That's what our mind does, is how we're able to hold a consistent picture of the world and walk outside and see a consistent image, right? Because that's how our mind works. And when we've been taught that everything is hard, and if you're not working extremely hard and suffering and doing setbacks, that you're not righteous, spiritual, good, and you're not doing the best that you can, right? All you're going to see around you is no one has it together, right? Because that mentality is what creates that type of thinking. And then you have environmental scripting. They have scripted our environment. Our parents didn't just lie to us. There was a multi-billion-dollar campaign, right, for to pushed out there for us to participate in ritualism as a form of acceptance and also as a form of status. Right? Our parents participate. A lot of our parents participated in Christmas and bought us things that said Santa Claus because it made them feel good and look good for work, because they had to be trained to work to buy things because they were being taught and trained on consumerism. You was being trained as a child on
Mm-hmm.
consumerism through commercials, and
Yeah.
every cartoon was literally a 22-minute ad for toys,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is how they did that. And as they did that, you have to remember there were movies, TV shows, celebrities, magazines. There was the
Mm-hmm.
CIA literally worked Operation Mockingbird, literally working with the news to cultivate and alter the perception of reality to Americans. They
Right.
were living in an era of being totally lied to from every direction. So
Mm-hmm.
their lies were just merely them expressing the reality they were in, and they thought that's how things were.
That's a
Right, right,
fact.
That's
right.
why they didn't see anything wrong with it. And that's from my perspective.
No, that's a fact. I agree with you. It's a lot of programming, man. And like you said, the letter boys, man, is involved in everything. Even to this day, they still involved, you know. So it's crazy. But yeah, social engineering, man, it's
That's what
real.
they do. They mess with your mind. They when you go to the daggone supermarkets, the way this is totally off topic, y'all, but like they set stuff up to where you will buy. You know, as far even with the kids with the cereals, they put all the colorful pictures on the cereal so it will catch the
Correct.
eye of children and make their parents want to buy these things.
Correct.
But that's another topic.
So in
Sorry,
my
P.
mind, my thinking, my point of view, with all of that being said, and we're a generation and we're seeing through it, you think that in our parents' generation there weren't people like us, and what were they doing? Were they just kept participating in a lie? Why wouldn't they weren't awoke, they weren't waking up other people up? Like, I
No,
just don't believe that everyone was just so thoroughly indoctrinated that they didn't know that these things weren't correct, that the correct things to do.
listen, it still goes on to this day. The ones
Right.
who are enlightened, whether you want to call them star seeds, whether you want to call them divine chosen ones, they always going to be shunned. Oh, like I told you, there's somebody in my chat, I mean, not in my chat, in the comment that kept commenting to me and Talib about a video that I posted. We're telling this person, listen, there's chemtrails. This person in their mind, they again, that one track thinking. No, it's contrails. Well, and I told you I disengaged with the person. I just was kept telling him, hey, brother, that's your opinion. It's cool. Talib went back and forth with him a few times. And it was some people are like that. So what I'm trying to say is there was enlightened people in those times, but when they spoke, they was called weird. They probably was jailed. Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? Looked at different. You
They
know.
weren't a part of the system in the sense of everyday society. Like I grew up and going to first world. I met Dr. Ben, Dr. Jeffries, Francis Cress Welsing, Delbert Blair. I met Dr. Sebi, right? I got to speak, have breakfast, and meet these people and talk to these people. I met Khalid Muhammad before he died, right?
Mm,
Like there
Wow.
was a community that was active, but there's no money behind it, right? There's no marketers behind it. It doesn't have a publicist and an agent and someone that's saying you need to get out and be seen here and there, right?
mm,
These are ground root operations. And the
mm,
thing about ground root operations, if you're not on the ground near those roots, you probably really won't know unless you're out looking for those things. Now we see certain things because they've mastered how to sell to us, right? And they've mastered the technique of the algorithm. See, that's the real secret. You're not going to see anything. It's watching. Your phone's watching you now. It's watching us right
Mhm.
now as we do this. But it's every night at 2 a.m. It sends back to the service provider everything your phone encountered,
mhm.
and it
Mhm.
uses sonar, so it can map out things without the camera on, just from the audio.
And
And
then I'm
oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
please. No, no, no.
But
Please.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
gonna also say that and if you speak too loudly and be recognized, all that's gonna happen is they're gonna take you out. Sorry, y'all, but that's pretty much what happens. They're gonna blackball you and take you out and do all these horrible things just to keep you quiet. And it's so I think there are people out here who do not believe in these things but still partake in these certain activities just to satisfy other people. Even for me, like we could talk about Christmas. Like I don't really celebrate Christmas. I do it for my daughters and I do it for the little kids because they don't know no better because this is what we're teaching them. So it's like, why not just keep it going for another year or two? Because after that, I'm telling you, like You need to be informed. I feel like we need to always keep our children informed and be honest with them so they can know what's going on. You know, it's like growing up in New York, you gotta have some type of smarts. You have to have a street smarts, like you have to have something. You know, you can't just throw your kids out into the world with no type of guidance. That's why I guess it's different for me. I just can't.
All right. So, what are the negative effects of our parents lying to us?
Okay. Um, I would say this is a negative effect, that whatever rule you are installing into your children, you have to live by that. Right? And this is where I kind of lost a lot of, like, some respect for my mother. I've got this Jamaican household. There is no debating, shut up and do as you're told, right? And so I remember my mother would always say, so Tyrone, if everyone's going to jump off the
Are
bridge,
you?
are you going to jump? Right? And it was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to be a follower. I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to use my own mind. And then she would always say, oh, make sure you keep smart individuals around you. Keep people smart around you. Yeah, I got it. So now fast forward, and she's my mother, right? And now I'm learning the woman. Now this is what was disheartening, that let's just take for an example the pandemic. Everyone was doing something, and I was saying, so mother, everyone's doing this, so you're going to jump off the cliff? And then she was like, yeah, hey, be quiet. No, yes, everyone is going to get the shot. I need to travel, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, look, I went like this. I went, wow.
Yeah. The contradiction.
Wow.
Yep.
So you lied to me in a way. You lied, but this was a hardcore lie, because I'm 48 now. This is now. This was happening when I was like 42, whatever. And then I was like, then I started to analyze this. I said, let's go on to the next rule. I said, so mother, you said keep smart people around you, right? And I started to name names that people who were smart around me. I was like, they're smart, right? And they were like, yes. And I said, so where's the smart people around you?
Ooh.
And look.
Look, even
my
Talib face
respect.
like, ooh.
Yeah. Look. And this is why it's so important, that whatever you're installing into your children, you're not going to break any of these rules, right? Because now I'm looking at this woman. Look, I love my mother, even though, there's some things going on, right? And it's like, yo, you don't have any smart people around you. So you fed me BS for dump so many years. I wonder how much more BS you fed me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that hurt to know, like, you broke one of the rules. Like, for example, okay, like my father who passed away, right? My father would never break this rule. Okay, I know he wouldn't. He was talking about, right? They was talking about the letter boys, right? The LGBTQRST, right? And then he said, look, son, whatever you do, don't let anyone put their finger in your butt. Got it. And he's never going to break that rule. So everything is so respectable from there. But when you break the rule later on, like, your children might lose that respect as an adult and as a person. So that was my only info sorry for being long-winded on that. Sorry.
No, you good.
Wow.
Peach. Nah, but I feel you though, T, on the how you said your mom spoke. That's basically how my mom's and more my mom's. My dad was more open minded. My mother was the same way. Don't ask her no questions. do as you said. It's kind of like how Talib said, you know, he had like the military. My parents wasn't military anything, but you might as well say they was military. You know what I mean? Because it was like, do as we say, don't question us. Kids stay in a kid's place. Kids don't ask grown-ups questions. And I was telling Peach this shit makes no sense. I can't see myself telling, I mean, I've said it a few times, but I had to catch myself when I said it to my own children, you know, about to repeat the same cycle. And I'm like, hold on, that don't even make sense for me to say that to my children. Oh, daddy, where you going? I'm like, you'll see when we get there. But a few times I done said, hey, don't ask a grown up no questions. And I had to catch myself. But I feel you on that. Alan, you know.
A really quick question to you, Maybach,
Mm-hmm.
right? And everyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you, how can I put this? Do you feel that children be in adult
Oh
conversations?
hell no. Me and my siblings could never do that. When grown folks
Right.
start talking, they tell us to go play in the room. And I'm like that too. I don't have if I'm talking on the phone with someone and I know, like, you know, it's gonna be, you know, a certain type of conversation, I move away from my children. Or I'll tell them, hey, go,
Right.
go, go, go in the TV room, go play downstairs, or something like that. So I still do that to this day. Kids should not, there's a lot of kids, they grew up fast, it's because they're seeing a lot of things, you know. And you know, we once were children, right? So we tried to mimic, or we tend to copy what we see. We soak it up like a sponge, you know what I'm saying? And kids nowadays are super advanced, especially with the technology. So I feel like children still should be around children, you know what I mean? Like a 9-year-old should not be watching 18-year-old content. You get what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, they need to be watching things that's pertaining to their age. Again, in our time, the most explicit stuff I was seeing when I was coming up was Benny Hill, Porky's Revenge, Revenge of the Nerds. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking about
Right.
like with the a little bit explicit stuff. More Benny Hill. Benny Hill came on at like midnight. You know what I'm saying? Real late, and then TV went off. So we had that era where the TV went off. Y'all know when the national anthem came on and that American flag was waving, your TV was done. Now TV's on 24 hours. It doesn't stop. But I digress. You know what I mean?
Ah, you know what? That was so long winded, but we love you for that.
Oh, word, word,
You're
but
so mean.
word. That
well,
was a
for
hit 'em up.
me
That was a
to
hit 'em up.
answer the question, I think children should be in some conversations. I think they should be in the conversations about life, depending on how old they are, if they're mature, depending on their maturity level. I think they should be in conversations about God. I think they should be in conversation, about some things like daily living.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think we should exclude our children from everything. I never did. Some conversations I did have with my children allowed them to ask me questions so they can grow. And when they became adults, it helped with their decision making. So yeah, it's a yes and no. If I'm talking about sex, no, get out. If I'm talking
Right.
about, drinking or something like that, you could stay in the room. I might say, okay, well, see, we're about to drink. You shouldn't probably partake in this. I'm doing it for this reason, whatever, whatever, but get out. It's adult time. But things
Mhm.
about God and, you know, drugs or um me busting, and I remember sitting in the kitchen with my grandmother. I learned some of the most important lessons there. I learned how to have relationships and friendships. I learned how to navigate relationships with men, So yeah, I think kids should be in the room for some things. Some things they shouldn't. I don't know. Who's up next with this question?
I agree with P. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
Yeah, well,
Talib?
No,
yeah.
that's what she said.
I don't, I don't,
Second that.
I don't think that children should be. I think that a lot of parenting is from a place of ego and not actually parenting, because a lot of parents didn't learn how to be parents. My whole philosophy has always has been, and it's helped me a lot, is that you're not that much older than me, right? Period. Right? When you start to realize as you get older, they're not that much older than you anymore, then you start to understand how much they really knew when they had you.
Mm.
Because you've already been that age and you remember what the thinking was like and you know what you were thinking and how much of what you were thinking was not good thinking as you lived through the thinking, and so I don't think it's a good idea to have. I think a lot of children are messed up. A lot of our generation is messed up because context is everything, and without understanding that a child may not get the context, they may misunderstand and take on and program themselves a certain way. From birth to years old, the child's brain is in what they call a theta state. This is why a kid can learn up to like 4 languages simultaneously and be able to speak them because his brain is heavily. Now, once after 8 years old, it becomes to get rigid. Remember, 7 years old is called the latency stage. It's the superhero stage. It's where they begin to look for a hero. By the time they turn 19 years old, what comes in? Personality, the real me. And when they start to identify as a separate self, a true separate self, right? And that's where the confusion usually comes in because we like by 12 years old, if you're born up in a Christian household, at your 12th birthday, you probably heard something similar like, okay, you're 12 years old now, you're responsible for your own sins. You're old enough to
Right.
know right from wrong. But this is a total misguidance because we both all know in science that the prefrontal lobe doesn't even develop until you're 25 years, 22 in a woman and 25 in a man. Actually, 18 in a woman. And this is why girls develop faster and men don't develop fully frontal cortex lobes until they're 25 years old. And what part of that is what is that responsible for? That's responsible for your decision making, your ability to really make right and wrong decisions.
Right.
Those things aren't fully developed, and we don't spend enough time developing it. We just assume the child is supposed to do it and know it because most parenting is done out of frustration and not care. That's why children are beat, and that's why they're put on punishment, right? Because we haven't found a better way to relate to our child and make them understand, right, that what they're doing is either wrong or there's things you need to get on top of, right?
Right.
Now, we can all agree we don't want nobody to punish us, nobody to beat us, no one to scold us, make us feel less than a person. We don't want these things, but yet we feel it's okay to put it on our children
Hmm.
and saying that's going to prepare them for the world while we don't like the world.
Correct. And we
Right.
just
So a lot of our step parenting comes from a place of ego because that's how they trained us here in America. Right. They conditioned us to mother means God on the lips of children. Right. When God only means God. But and that's where the don't question me. You don't get to ask me questions. Just do what I say.
mhm.
Right. Even do what I say, not as you see me do. Anybody else hear that as you growing up?
Yeah.
No one else heard that?
But how
Yeah.
does that? But how does that prepare you for life? Doing that,
Well,
it doesn't prepare you for life at all. And
it
it's
prepares
like
you to be a better worker
it's
because you. I'm just messing with like
be a robot.
I'm
That's
just.
what it's gonna prepare you to be a robot. Like for instance, you said, is it okay for children to be in adult conversations? Like Pierce said, for certain conversations, as far as drugs, um, like school and stuff, like even going down to sex. I think certain stuff you need to have conversations with your children that they need to be a part of because we are, as far as females, we are human beings
I
who
didn't disagree with that though. I just want maybe you misunderstood what I was saying. I agree with that. I was just saying filling in other aspects of that. But what she said, I
no,
did agree with that.
no, I didn't
I
say
agreed with her.
disagree. I didn't say disagree with anything.
I
I was
wasn't
just
sure. I thought you were feeling as
no,
if
no, no, no.
I
I wasn't
wasn't
disagreeing
agreeing.
with anything. I agree with what everyone is saying, but I'm saying that I feel that certain conversations definitely need to be had with children and they need to be a part of certain conversations, especially as females and males too, knowing about like sex and stuff like that is so important because us as women, we kids need to know about women need to know about periods, Women need to know about what happened when you get your period. What does that mean? And a lot of parents don't talk to their children about things like this. And for instance, for me, my mom never told me about that. So what happened with me? I didn't learn it. I didn't know. So I ended up having a kid at really young age. But if I would have known these things, she would have installed these things in me instead of trying to hide it, because sex talk is so taboo. It
I was
probably
about to
would
say that.
it wouldn't turned out the way it turned out. But I'm grateful for it. I wouldn't change it.
I agree
But
with that one wholeheartedly. I grew up in a household where I had an aunt who is why I'm in film today, who would teach me everything about a movie. And she would, when a sex scene or naked bodies was on screen, she explained to us that it's art, right? That everyone has these parts. This is a natural thing for all people. Everyone has a body. We cover ourselves in clothes out of respect for each other, but in a movie, it's a part of storytelling, and it's okay to see a naked body. See, I'm just talking about how sometimes when maybe this was where my own mind was going, right? These sometimes children are around when adults are around, and adults are doing things, and children are there. And
right,
then adults like to take this time to educate their children on something they're doing with their friends. But this is not an appropriate time
right,
because you're not going to take the time to explain it and reach them in a way that they actually understand it. And
mhm,
understanding the age and the development of the child's psychology is extremely important when you want to convey some information because some ideas are too complex for their minds and it will be
right,
taking the context. So just because a child may show extra intelligence in one area doesn't mean they're working with a developed brain.
Mm-hmm.
true.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all
Agree.
I was talking about.
I agree.
I totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. Uh, I had an experience with my father, and he told me, I was 16, my arm was broken after a football game, and he says, and I told him, I said, I was like, oh, because as children, we are still kind of like emotional. Do you know what I mean? And like it's like our brain hasn't developed, but we're highly emotional. And then so I was telling my dad, I was like, Dad, I can't talk to you because every time I want to talk to you, Dad, I get this knot in my throat and I want to cry and I'm so scared. And then he said, my father was like, great. I want you to be scared. And I was like, this man's crazy. And he was like, no, I want you to be scared. I don't want you to be scared of the policemen or authorities. I want you to kind of be scared of me, of what's going on. So at 16, I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But at 18, 2 years later, thinking it on my own, I said, yeah, you know what, Father, you're right. It kept me out of danger. So, what he was saying with the frontal cortex and all of that and the development, yeah, when children start to grow older, they'll start to see what you're saying and most importantly, what you're doing, because this is how children really learn from
Right.
you, because you can talk to them blue in the face. This is what I've learned from coaching, right? You can talk to children blue in the face, but they're watching you and your actions and what you're doing. That's how they learn the best. And I land.
I totally agree. That's how they learn language, and everything, right? Because their brain is super absorbent. They're creating gaggles of neurons all the time. And that information is very vital that they get. And like my experience with my son,
Mhm.
you know, what I ended up giving my son was I taught my son how to meditate properly, self
Mhm.
hypnosis, right? How to take a step back, tapping. I gave it to my brother passed away not too long ago, well, some years ago now, and I've been helping raise his son. And he just got into college. He was accepted to 6 different universities. But
Wow.
how I got him out of it, because he was going through a lot. He lost my brother, his grandfather, and his other uncle back to back.
Wow.
And so he was but he had, and right after all that, he spent the summer with me, but then he had to go to school, right? So, but he couldn't focus, right? And he wanted to do his work, right? But and this is how all kids, I've learned this, how all children end up not doing, even how I ended up not doing my homework. No child intends on not doing the homework. What they do is they talk themselves out of it. I'll do it in an hour. I'll just play the game for a little while I just need to escape for a minute, right? But an hour becomes 3 hours, right? Then they say, okay, I'll do it before I go to bed. They tired now. I'll do it in the morning. Gotta go to school. And now one day of missing the work comes 3 days, right? So what I did with him was, first of all, I had to show him, right, that your mind is creating reality. It's one thing to tell somebody that, right? But when you live in your life with your mind running the show, it's very hard to see that. So I have practices and exercises that can show you these things. So I slowed him down, took him through a process, and when he relaxed and had his own experience, it it shook him, right? Because now he's like, oh, and now I can talk to him and say things at the right way, right? Never getting, I like my son would tell you, I never yelled at him as a child. I never cursed at him as a child. I never beat him. I never put him on punishment. We had a total understandable communication conversation because I never undermined his feelings, right? And parents have a big deal. We all grew up under that because they told us that our feelings didn't matter. Like the bills was more important. What you going through? School. That's that's your job. That's easy. You supposed to do that. I'm paying for the bill. I buy your clothes. I pay. I do everything around here,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Right.
guilt you, right? And they
Yeah.
guilt you. But guess what? For a child, the same stress you feel when you can't pay a bill is the same stress they feel about whatever they're going through. Neurologically, there is no difference. And understand when you feel stressed out and you start yelling and becoming all your nervous system is literally set to, I'm about to die. That's why you overreact. That's why they can't, there's no reasoning with them. There's no, they because the nervous system it's been tuned to the fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of children are just overwhelmed, especially our children, because we live overwhelmed lives. And when you stressed out and when you don't think they see you having a hard day, just like when you know they lying, they know when you lying.
Mm-hmm.
And then they begin to mimic how you don't say certain things. And then they don't say certain things. And what ends up happening? They don't feel comfortable talking
Right. Shut down.
until they explode.
Right.
It's the
Wow.
invalidation. That's why all of this, you know what I mean? It's the invalidation. If you were super smart, like everybody in here, group, I know everyone in here was exceptional in school, even if you messed up. But guess what? If you like anything like me, you grew up in a house where you could be a genius. Good. That means you could do more. You should be taking care of yourself better. You should be helping me more.
Hmm.
Invalidation. And then what does that teach you? I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And now you go out and look for relationships that what? Try to validate that you're good enough. So you end up in bad relationships. But it's not the people that you run into fault. They always been that way. There's always signs in a bad relationship. That's the shit we go, it's okay, it was cute. Later
Mm-hmm.
on down the line of the relationship, yep, I knew it. It was the red flag. Kids,
Everybody got a damn red flag.
everybody, bro, everybody, we choose because we've been taught that we have to. But you don't have to do any, you don't have to feed yourself. You don't have to clothe yourself. You don't have to have a house. You don't have to have a steady job. You don't have to do anything. There is no have. Everything in this world is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You choose to be a good person. You choose to take care of yourself. You choose to do the right thing. You choose to be a good parent. You chose to not follow the bad advice anymore when you realized it was bad advice. But the only way you realized that was from your own experience. Something had to show you that that's not working. Something inside you said, wait a minute, this ain't working. And that's where everybody changed. Everyone. Every human being on earth that made a drastic change in their life realized the shit they was doing, excuse my language, it ain't working.
And some
And they
people
wasn't,
don't never realize that.
yeah, because they in their comfort zone. And remember, comfort zone has nothing to do with living wealthy and having all this stuff. No, comfort means I'm familiar. So if you're familiar with being done wrong, if you're familiar with not having, if you're familiar with the world treating you a certain way, your mind is going to keep you there. You never leave that place
That's a fact.
because you're familiar with it. And the mind craves familiarity. That's why it finds patterns in everything, even the pattern things that have no pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But we aren't our minds. We're just the one that's aware of the mind.
That is
And
a whole
nobody,
nother topic.
but it's all connected
I
because
know.
when you looking at the children, how our parents lied to us, they ain't really, if they knew these things, they would never lie to us. They lied, all our lives would be different and better because they would have treated us better. All of us here come from trauma. Like most black people in America that grew up in these households, we all come from trauma because our parents was taught trauma, toughness is the way, it's the only way because you live in an unfair society where everybody hates you. And then you go outside and what do you see? Think about when you was a kid, the first time you ever got a cold. It was after your mother said, you better put a coat on and buckle up. It's cold outside. If you don't put a coat on, you're going to catch a cold.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and then you catch a cold.
The rain
You
one
put a
too.
hat on, I'll catch head cold.
The wet clothes from the rain too. Same thing, and that was all like lies. You don't you don't get sick because I was in Haiti. They go outside in the rain and be dancing in the rain. It's only out here people run away from the rain and they don't get sick. So what Talib is saying, I done witnessed. Yeah, exactly. You know.
And when we little, we're super impressionable. Everything we hear is true. That's why we love cartoons. We love the stuff we love when we kids because we're so impressionable. By the time you get older, the reason you're not as impressionable because your psychology has become rigid, meaning you believe that the world is a certain way. Once you get there, you can't see past it.
Hmm.
You can always loosen that up and make it soft again, right? But if you think it's hard work and I got to physically work on myself and change myself, then no, you're not because that's a part of your comfort zone. You want to know if you're running off a program? Anything that triggers you, that's your program. Some make you mad, somebody say something, and it make you what the huh? That's your trigger. That's something going on with you. And when you start realizing, you start laughing, and then you take all the power back. These people have no control over you. And then you could raise your kids with the same thinking. Then they go out here and they find success in their own way.
It's a fact.
All right, Mel. So you heard Talib. Now you know why I laugh all the time, right?
Yeah. It's still a process for me, man. I still get triggered sometimes. You know what I mean? Like he said, if you getting triggered, I was taught like, yo, or told, if you getting triggered, that's because that person controls you. They know your trigger. You know what I mean? But like he said, if you don't give it that energy, whether you laugh like a goofball, or you know what I mean, or whatever you do, it's gonna be nothing. You know what I mean? But he's right about that. He was cooking, man. Talib's always
Absolutely.
cooking, you
Yes,
know.
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Talib, for coming up here. All right. So we are at the end of the show. Um, so are we gonna give parents advice, how not to lie to their children? What do you do? How do you not lie to them? Any advice towards that? Because like Talib said, we are all got some type of programming.
Hmm.
We learn to be parents from our parents, some of us, and then some
Right.
of us just undo it, and then some of us just don't agree with it
Mhm.
because we have that open. But that's another topic for another show. But what advice would you give?
Who you asking? I
Just,
don't
I'm
know.
asking
just
Mel.
oh,
Why you gotta ask me? Why
Oh,
is it?
because
Listen,
you're the co-host, sir.
yo,
yeah,
listen.
so no.
I'm still listen. I'm a work in progress, my damn self. There's some things that
That's right.
Talib say. It's the truth. Like one thing I'm definitely I don't try to well I try my hardest not to do that. What he said I remember. It's like our parents will be going through something, they upset the bill or whatever, and they take it out on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's your fault or something like that. That's one thing that I make sure I don't do to my children. You know what I'm saying? If I'm angered or whatever, I don't take it out on them. You know what I mean? So there's things that I'm working on. You know what I mean? Remember, we don't get a handbook. You learn as you go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can share with one another, but what might work in with Talib may not work with me. You know what I mean? Vice versa. But I'm always open to to try different things, and I know he has a lot of exercises and stuff like that that he has for people. You know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know, y'all might as well to live before you get off, man. You got to give them your everything, man. Give them all your stuff so that way they could tap into you because you do multiple things and you're new to a lot of people. Not to me and not to Peach, but to everyone else.
I
There's some
never showed
restaurant
my
members.
face. I did that. I never showed my face, and he even asked me a couple times, and I was like, I don't want to distract from the information. I actually was just there to help and
Yeah,
actually share because I use these things for myself. It actually saved me. If I didn't
hmm,
learn them and use them, I wouldn't even be alive today. So
yeah,
I just shared the stuff. But the advice that I would give to parents, especially parents today raising their children, I would definitely tell them to take some time to actually talk to your child, not to placate down to your child, but to have a conversation with your child as if it is a already eternal spirit entering into a new vessel, unaware of where it is and the function of this vehicle. Take the time to sit down and actually meditate with your child. Teach your child and yourself some breathing techniques. Show your child how to deal with a situation the best way possible. Take opportunities when you're in situations out in the world instead of being angry in front of your child. I see this a lot and flipping out on people, right? But show your child how you deal with difficult situations with grace and discernment.
hmm,
Slow down. Stop trying to act like raising a child is a job. Like you need a break. That's how I see a lot of parents behave. They act like they are supposed to get out every weekend because they've been doing this job of raising this child. That's not a job, right? That
yeah,
is a part of your life. You
correct.
don't consider brushing your teeth a job. You don't consider keeping yourself clean a job. You don't consider having fun a job. Children are not a job. They're an extension of you, right? And if you wouldn't treat yourself that way, then you should never treat your child that way.
It's a
And
fact.
that's what I would advise to people. Learn some meditation with your child. Sit down and breathe with them. You know what I mean? Like she was saying, if you're a Christian, you want to teach your child, sit there and you open that Bible up and talk to them about how you see the teachings in there. Because a lot of times what you see may be different from what you going in the church getting, if that's what you do, right? I don't personally do that. I personally believe in psychology. Teach your kid how your brain works, how your brain is a damn liar. It's always lying to you and tricking you, right? Make everything into a game. And every time they get mad, try this trick. It works phenomenally. Laugh and let them know that I know what that's like. You don't have to worry about it. Let's talk about it. Engage with them. Show them that what they're doing isn't a crime. And guess what? Your kid will come to you about everything.
That's a fact.
Yep. Toya, what is your advice?
Just be open and honest with your children, and just keep them educated, basically. So that's pretty much. But I pretty much agree with some of a lot of things everyone has said on the panel today. It was a lot of good tips. So
For me, being the type of well, all of you on the panel know what kind of kid I was, right? I think
mhm.
I love how my grandparents raised me. They didn't really try to stuff stuff inside of me. They allowed whatever was in me to come out, and then they nurtured those attributes about me. And then they kind of guided me along the way. And I had developed my own perception of things. And then if I wasn't clear, they brought me that clarity. It was never about you should be this or you should do that or why are you doing this. It was more or less, okay, this is coming out, help me understand why. And I think, as parents, we'll do better if we actually support and, like Talib said, engage instead of taking what we see in the world and try to stuff it into our kid. I never went through that. I never went through that, and I never did that to my children. I always thought, saw them as unique individuals, and I just supported whatever it is about them that I needed to support. And then whatever they needed an assist with, I kind of gave my advice, and they would learn along the way. So that is my advice. Mel, so what is the topic for next week? And everybody, thank you for joining us, and I hope y'all join us for next week. But what is the topic for next week, or am I picking the topic?
I gave you a topic, and Talib kind of touched up on it. I'll bring it back. I wanted to do well, the topic I wanted to bring up was how one man talks a certain way and he gets funded millions of dollars, where a melanated guy is talking about black liberation and he has to ask for cash apps and doesn't get the cash apps. Basically, who I'm talking about, one would be Charlie Kirk, how he gets funded millions and millions of dollars for the things that he spew out and talk about, and Dr. Umar Johnson being the other person who gets no money. Okay, we know about his characters and all of that. I don't care. I'm not trying to get into that. I just want to talk about why does one person gets basically gets corporations, entities backing him up, and someone else doesn't get no one to back him up. So I think that would be a great conversation. I know Talib would love to talk about that. I know Toya would. Everybody else who was here in the chat would have their opinions and have their point of views. I think that would be dope. I don't know about y'all, but me and Peach will talk behind the scenes and see if that's what it's going to be or it's going to be another topic.
Well, it could be that. So basically, you want to talk about why are blacks underfunded? Why are we
Yeah,
never
yeah.
funded?
Why he doesn't get funded, and again,
Why don't we? Because it's so many.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm with that.
I don't know.
Is everybody else with it? Are you planning on joining us next week, Talib and Toya?
Heck yeah, I didn't even know y'all had. As soon as I saw this, every time he puts something up, he'll tell you. As soon as he
Yeah,
posted, last time he went live, because I
yeah,
got him on my notifications, I show right up, like, hey,
yeah,
what up,
yeah,
bro? You know what I mean?
yeah.
I love the fact that a lot of us is from the rec mob, you know what I mean?
You're
And
right.
now we up here, and that's just you see how much I'm giggling right now. I'm so happy that makes me
You're
like
right.
because we were people that was always in the comments saying something and getting well, I wasn't in the comment, I was on the show, but y'all was in the comments, I was in the comments too, though, too, on other
Yeah,
shows he was on. You know what I mean?
you're right.
Like
You're
spooky
right.
hours and stuff. And so it's just for me. I'm just so excited to see you guys actually doing it. And I'll support anyway. I'll come next week gladly just to be a part of it. You see, I'll mute my mic and sit back and just smile.
Oh, that's right.
You coming,
Let's go.
Toya, next week to join us?
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
She'll pull
Yeah.
up. She gonna pull
She'll
up.
pull up. Yeah,
Even
she
if
I
gonna
it's for
pull up.
probably
10
pop in
minutes.
and out, y'all. I probably
Yeah,
pop
it's
in and
okay.
out.
It's
All right,
okay.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, we thank everyone for joining us. Please join us next Wednesday at 8 p.m. What is our topic? Narrow it down, Mel. What is it?
Charlie Kirk.
Y'all see.
No. Why are blacks underfunded?
Underfunded. Why are
Yes.
blacks underfunded? Why are we underfunded? That's a good topic.
All right.
It
With
happens
that
all the
being
time.
said, everybody have a great night, and we'll see y'all when next Wednesday at
Okay.
8 p.m.
Same
Bye,
bat time, same
everyone.
bat channel. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Salute to everyone.
Later,
Peace.
y'all.